Okay, we're about to get started. Good afternoon, everyone. We are on the record. Today is Monday, the 26th day of June, in the year 2023. This is a City Council caucus meeting of the Jersey City Municipal Council. We had a scheduled 4 p.m. start. Clock on my cell phone is showing 4:08 p.m. May we have a roll call for the commencement of this caucus? Councilperson Ridley.
Here.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Here.
Councilperson Baggiano is not here. Councilperson Saleh.
Here.
Councilperson Solomon.
Here.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Present.
Councilperson DeGise is not here. Councilperson Rivera.
Here.
And Council President Waterman. We have 7 council members in attendance at 4:08 p.m. On behalf of Council President Waterman and the Jersey City Municipal Council, in accordance with the New Jersey Public Laws of 1975, Chapter 231, the Open Public Meetings Act, also known as the Sunshine Law, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by the posting on the bulletin board of the first floor of City Hall. The annual notice, which is the schedule of meetings and caucuses of the Municipal Council for the calendar year 2023, and filed in the office of the City Clerk on Thursday, December 15th, 2022. In addition, at its time of its preparation, the agenda of this meeting was similarly disseminated on Friday, June 23rd, 2023 at 4 p.m. to the Mayor, Municipal Council, Business Administrator, Corporation Council, local newspapers, and posted on the city's website, so I can certify as to our total compliance with the Sunshine Law. Council President, I'm going to turn the meeting over to you.
Good afternoon. Our first director, Christine.
Good afternoon, Council President, Council members. I have 3 items on the agenda. The first is item 10.3, a resolution awarding a professional services agreement to Fireworks by Grucci for July 4th.
There any confirmed performances for this year by any chance?
There will not be a main stage this year. We're going to do a street fair along Montgomery Street from 12 p.m. to 9 p.m. and that'll be from Hudson to Warren with the fireworks at 9:30.
Thank you.
And then I have 2 property agreements. 10.4, a resolution authorizing a license agreement with Evergreen Shipping Agency, allowing us to use their property for July 4th. And 10.5, which is a similar license agreement for 101 Hudson, also for July 4th.
Thank you. Director Kears.
Good afternoon, President Waterman, members of the council. I have 7 items for your consideration today. Resolution 23505, 10-16. Resolution will authorize the award of a contract to Millennium Communications Group for surveillance camera upgrades at the following locations: Municipal Avenue and Van Horn Street, Municipal Avenue and Garfield Avenue, Ann Street, Municipal Avenue and Manning, Municipal Avenue and Crescent, Municipal Avenue and Holiday, Municipal Avenue and Pacific. Total cost of the project is $357,000, $67.92, and this is funded through the 2021 UASI grant.
Questions?
The next resolution is 23506, 10.17. Resolution will authorize the award of contract to Millennium Communications Group for the surveillance camera upgrades at the following locations: Ocean and Danforth, Rose and McAdoo, Garfield and Stegman, West Side and Clinton, Garfield and Neptune, West Side and Virginia, Stegman and Ocean, MLK Drive and Virginia Avenue. Total cost of the project is $498,343.48, and is funded through the 2022 UASI grant. The next one is Director Shea had asked me to present this one. This is Resolution 23507, 10.18. Resolution will authorize the Department of Public Safety to apply and accept for funds in the amount of $173,174 under the 2022 Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant, state program through the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office. Acceptance of this grant will facilitate quality of life foot and vehicle patrols in targeted hotspots citywide. Next is Resolution 23508, 10.19. Resolution will authorize the award of a contract to Millennium Communications to provide security upgrades and target hardening systems to the Jersey City Municipal Courthouse. Included in this project are access control, turnstiles, X-ray machines, and metal detectors. Total cost of this contract is $569,127.97 and is funded through the capital account number 04-215-55-009-990. Next is Resolution 23509, 10.20. Resolution will award a contract for the purchase and delivery of 5 2024 Chevrolet Trax vehicles for use by the Department of Public Safety Traffic Division through the Sourcewell Purchasing Cooperative. Total amount of this contract is $108,044.16 and is funded through the capital account number 04-215-55-013-990.
Director, what would these vehicles be used for?
These will be used for members of the Traffic Division, Councilman. Formerly the parking violations people. Next is Resolution 23512, 10.23. This resolution will authorize a renewal of an open-end contract with United Sales USA Corporation for custodial supplies for the Department of Public Works Division of Recycling. Total cost of this contract is $109,284 with a temporary encumbrance of $10,000 funded through account 01-201-26-29431. The last item, Resolution 23523, 10.34. Resolution will authorize the award of a contract to Safer Watch to provide a mobile panic alert system for the Jersey City Municipal Court. System is part of security upgrades necessary to enhance security at the facility. Total cost of this contract is $38,900 and is funded through capital account 04-215-55-009-990. Thank you.
Before we go on to the next speaker, I just want to record Councilperson DeGise present at 4:12 p.m. So we have 8 council members present at 4:12. Thanks.
Good afternoon, Council President Waterman and all the other council members.
Good afternoon.
Introducing resolution number 23-498, which is item 10.9 on your agenda. This is a resolution renewing our life insurance agreement with Equitable Financial Services Company of America to insure our management employees and retirees. This is a renewal option which would be effective July 1, 2023 to June 30th, 2024 in the amount of $144,060.
It's just a standard life insurance that
That we offer to our management employees and to their retirees as well, certain retirees. Thank you.
My name is Amadi Torres. I represent the Division of Community Development. I have one item today, 10.13, Reso number 23-502. The owner of 307 Winfield Avenue borrowed $19,000 to repair their home. They have met their affordability period of 5 years, and this mortgage is ready for discharge.
Questions?
Thank you.
Webb?
Good afternoon, Council President and Council. I have 2 items today. I have Resolution 23504, which is item 10.15, which is the renewal of our consulting contract with Millennium, and that's our grant consultants. And it's a 1-year renewal. This is actually an option. And the total amount is $156,000.
do they Do they work alongside like all the departments, or is there a specific department they work with?
They work with all departments. And actually, they actually search out grants for the entire city.
And Director, when you say they search out grants, I know obviously with the federal legislation last year, the Inflation Reduction Act, there was a lot of grants related to clean energy and things of that nature. Do we have a sense from them or from other folks what we're going to be applying for as a city from that specific federal bill that I know filters down through then a bunch of state agencies?
They send us each and every opportunity that's available to the city. And
Okay.
usually, right now, there's about 7 to 10 opportunities that we are seeking.
Okay, and then you distribute those to the
Department, I work with, I'm the liaison between the department and the consultants.
Okay, got it.
So, of all the grants they've, sent us to apply for, how many of the grants we actually apply for and receive?
The majority of the grants, because what they do is they vet out the grants and make sure that we're eligible for them. So the majority of the grants that we apply for, we generally get.
You did, okay.
Okay, and the next item is Resolution 23503, which is item 10.14, which is the third acceptance of an award for Janssen, which is our opioid money. This amount is $96,526.01. This is the second we received this year. We received another award of $124,000 and some change earlier in April. So total to date, we have about $424,482.
And how,
The council had some questions about what some of the allowable expenses were. I had circulated, it was Schedule B to the settlement agreement, the class action litigation. There are obviously a large number of potential programs that could be funded with these funds. So if you have any questions about that when you review it, feel free to reach out to me. And I believe that's also attached to the resolution that's on the agenda.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Council. 2 items. I'll start with 10.2, that is emergency temporary appropriations. This is just to get us through the next few weeks until we bring the budget for adoption, which will be on July 12th. There's no questions on that. 10.1 is a resolution introducing amendments to the introduced budget. This wouldn't be adopting the changes. It would be an introduction, and then on July 12th, we'd have a public hearing on those amendments and then a resolution to adopt the budget in full.
hey, Carol, with regards to 10.2, it's just a pitch of from one amount to the other amount, and then it says operating expense. Is there any way we can have like a more detailed analysis to see how the actual money that's being requested is being spent?
Yeah, we could provide breakdown by line item. So just if you want to send me an email with specific
Yes,
visions, then we could do that.
okay.
Sorry, sorry, just on the amendment, Kyle, a couple questions. So I think the first one is not in the amendment, but I just wanted to get a clarity on it. For street lighting, it looks like we have allocated 3.5 million, and last year's expended number, at least on our list, is 2.3. Is there sort of a reason for the discrepancy between those two? And yeah, we'll start there.
Yeah, so that one specifically, I know that was just the timing of the payments. So
Okay.
when we closed out the budget year in December 31st, I don't think we were all caught up with our invoices. So I could send you an update. We drew down on our appropriation reserves probably in January. So
Got it.
I'll get you the actual amounts, but
Okay, that'd be great. And then, I have a couple kind of follow-up questions, but let me ask sort of one big picture question. I know in this budget, we've transferred a lot of funding from operating to capital. And we understand it's a tough year and we're limiting the increases. But what is the plan for next year? And then obviously subsequent years with, I think it's roughly 16 million that's now been moved from operating to capital in this year's budget.
Yeah, right. So initially we had $500,000 in this year's budget for a down payment. In case we had to replenish those funds that we used this year. That's not the current plan of the administration. And next year when we roll out, most likely a request for all departments, we'll measure what our needs are moving forward because capital needs do change. And sometimes projects are delayed. So when we get to that point, that will come to council, obviously. But right now, there's no plans for any additional capital borrowing.
So, I mean, in essence, we would need to next year. We're not going to borrow this year. So either next year we would need to borrow, do a capital fund and have this money included within it.
Potentially.
Or put it in the operating budget or cut it.
Right, potentially. It depends on what our goals are for next year and what projects are planned and when we'll need the funding by.
Okay, that's helpful. And then I'll send you a follow-up with a couple of things from the finance department meeting. They're sort of a little bit more specific, but wanted to make sure that, we asked about better understanding of the breakdown of the surplus and so where it came from, and then breakdown of the over expenditures from 2022 and try to understand where that came from. I think there are probably one or two other things. And then I see we dropped the reserve for bargaining agreements and salaries by $1 million. Do we have a sort of sense of if any contracts are planning to be settled by the end of this year?
To my knowledge, they're all either ongoing or haven't started yet. But I mean, I'll follow up with Jim Carroll on that.
Yep. And then is there any way if we do pass the final budget on July 12th to avoid the estimated third quarter tax bill and just send out the final third and fourth quarter tax bills?
I don't
subsequent to
believe
that?
so, but we can confirm that.
So I think the deadline is the 15th, so we'll verify that prior to.
Okay, sure. Yeah. It was posted online. I don't know if it's, I didn't get it in the mail yet, but it was posted.
So no, that's a thank you for bringing it. I actually forgot to ask about that. So with regards to the third quarter tax, because they went out already, correct? Some people have received their third quarter bills or no?
I'll have to follow up with our tax collector who does the billing. But I do know we were prepared to send them out, and I'd have to double check.
I believe they were posted online, but I don't believe we've received them in the mail. My understanding, what I've seen and heard. Yeah.
I will let you know before I leave today.
I did want us to, we did, it looks like engineering salary and wages decreased by about 100,000. Could you sort of walk us through that decrease?
Yeah, so the council should have received the breakdown last Wednesday of all the changes. For engineering specifically, just let me turn to it. So there was an internal transfer, so there's a decrease there of 88,000 for a salary, but which is being added to another division within infrastructure. There's a separation and a backfill. So there's no change in headcount.
Staffing, it's just the moving of people.
Right.
Okay. That's it on my end right now.
What are we doing on overtime?
I will be sending an update end of this week when we get the new payroll. So
Okay, I like your glasses, by the way.
thank you. I like yours too.
Kyle, just a quick question, Sean. Just wondering why our office wasn't part of the budget amendment this year.
So what we did was when we weighed all the council's recommendations, as well as any changes that have already taken place, any additional amendments that were requested, it equated to a 1.35% additional increase on the initial introduced levy. So what we did was we backed out any of those recommendations, keep us at the same tax rate increase, which is 2%. And any changes with personnel or staffing usually would have to be directed by the BA for finance to fund.
Maggie?
Good afternoon, Council President and council members. I'm here on ordinance 23070, item 3.6, which is the individual historic designation of 343.58th Street, the childhood home of Venus Pelagati Extravaganza. This landmark would be Jersey.
Maggie, could you speak? We couldn't hear it in it.
Oh, sorry. I've never been told I'm too quiet before. All right, I'm here on ordinance 23-070, item 3.6, which is the individual historic designation of 343.58th Street, which is the childhood home of Venus Pelagati Extravaganza. This landmark would be Jersey City's first exclusively cultural heritage landmark. It was approved and recommended for adoption by the Historic Preservation Commission on February 6th of this year, and approved and recommended for adoption by the Planning Board on May 23rd of this year. As staff, we're honored to support this designation and also hope that we have your support as well, and I'm happy to answer any questions on it.
Thank you, Maggie.
Thank you.
Owen?
Good afternoon, Council President and City Council. The Department of Health and Human Services Food and Nutrition Division has 2 items on tonight's agenda. First item is Resolution 23515, agenda number 10.26, a resolution authorizing the City of Jersey City Department of Health and Human Services to accept grant funds from the Hudson County Department of Health and Human Services for the peer grouping meal program that will serve seniors that are homebound in the amount of $40,000. Okay, the second item, Resolution 23516, agenda number 10.27, a resolution authorizing the execution of a memorandum of understanding with Easter Seals, New Jersey, allowing it to partner with the Division of Food and Nutrition to implement the Federal Child and Adult Care Food Program.
Good evening, Council. Madam President, got 2 items for you. First one is 10.10. It's a grant for $9,000 for safety services for playground equipment, Stevens and Hamilton Park. Second one is 10.11, and that's for Gateway Baseball Scoreboard for $23,305.
Any questions on the first one? Hamilton Park.
First, no, the first 10.10 is Hamilton Park.
There's something with Hamilton Park, right, James?
I don't think that, what's 10.10? That's Stevens, right?
Yes,
At Hamilton Park.
Stevens and Hamilton Park, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Yeah.
both, 10.10 covers both of them?
At Hamilton Park. Any questions? Questions?
Director, are they repairing the existing scoreboard that's there, or they're getting a new scoreboard?
New scoreboard.
Okay.
You.
Good evening, Council. I have 2 items on the agenda tonight.
I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Sorry, 2 items on the agenda tonight.
Okay.
10.25, a resolution 23-514. It's a resolution ratifying a 3rd amendment with the contract with Netta Architects in relationship to engine number 10, ladder 12. Capital account funding this is for $384,676. This is to get the architect running with the project that's been in default for the past year.
Say that again. I can't, this is to the skip? You say?
This is to bring the architect back on board and move the project forward again, since it's been in default for the past year.
And this is for the fire station that's slated to go on Grand, correct?
Engine 10 on Grant Street, the the new firehouse, yes.
Okay, so at one point, there was an issue with infrastructure to the adjacent property that is all that cleared up and
That's all part of the same project.
okay.
Ryan, you said engine 10 on Grand Street?
Yep, the new Engine 10 project.
Used to be on Municipal, now it's gonna be on,
Where at?
at the lot, what's that, Johnson?
Johnson, it's
Yeah.
Johnson. Very first that
Bishop, across from Bishop Street.
started it, but then something happened. It stopped, yeah. Okay.
Okay. Okay, second item is agenda item 10.32. Resolution 23-521. It's a resolution authorizing an award of contract to Moderano Recreation for the fabrication and delivery of a pedestrian bridge for Reservoir 3. Be purchased under New Jersey State Contract 16 Fleet 00121 at a cost of $879,534.
Now, the bridge, it's what's going to go from, what's that, Summit to the other way, or from Jefferson towards?
The bridge will provide a pedestrian connection so that pedestrians can make a circuitous route around the top of the reservoir in combination with the trail that goes along the top of the reservoir. So the bridge covers the breach that's on Jefferson Avenue.
Oh, so that's 800 just from that's like the exit that you come in, just that portion right there?
Correct, yes.
Oh, I'm in the wrong business. Good Lord.
Are they installing this as well, or is that going to be on us, or?
The installation is a separate contract. Engineers, we have to build the foundations. This is just for the fabrication and delivery of the bridge.
Okay. So he says
Bridge,
it's not
this provides pedestrian access, emergency access, maintenance access. It's really a needed component to finish the pedestrian and security aspect of the park.
How much, yeah,
I was gonna say, are we coordinating like the delivery with the installation? Because, I want to make sure.
The intent is the lead time for this is a long time. The engineers are already on board working with the foundation.
How long is a long time? Curious.
I don't know exactly yet because they need a PO, but it's gonna take months.
Okay.
So the people that's fabricating it, they're not gonna be the ones that's placing it there?
That's correct.
What's correct? They are, they're not.
They're not.
They're not?
They're going to deliver to the site. We'll have to have a contractor on site to build the foundations to support it and install it.
Do we have an estimate of what that's gonna be?
Approximately the same, but we're not sure.
And after this bridge is built and installed, is there another round of renovations for the reservoir that we can anticipate? Like the pump house and the other thing?
Currently, we have grant funding for historic structures restoration. And that first phase of that project is actually out to bid right now. So there is forward momentum at Reservoir 3.
Awesome. Thank you.
You said we got a lot of money for that.
There's more to see. But Bojano's not here, so.
Good afternoon, council. Okay, the first one I have is ordinance item number 3.1, 23065. This is an ordinance authorizing the acquisition of a portion of 335 Washington Street.
This is for $1, right, John?
Yeah. As part of the redevelopment plan, they can basically gift it over to the city.
In the redevelopment plan, is this is one of the things they have to do to get a density bonus? Is that right? Could be wrong, but.
I believe so. I don't recall offhand what the trigger is for doing this, but there was an option of either giving it over to the city or New Jersey Transit.
And this is the thing we're currently intending to be the creative center?
Yeah,
correct?
believe so, yeah.
I just one question, Craig. Is there any, I guess, what are the commitments around the condition upon which it comes to the city? So if we're obviously taking it for $1, but are we accepting any liability here to, the repair and environmental remediation and anything along those lines?
No, they're supposed to finish it, build it up to spec. It's not done yet, so it'll be held in escrow until that's done.
And is that legal language in 3.1? Okay, great.
Next one is item 3.2. That's an ordinance amending chapter 321 for trees of the municipal code. There's no amendments actually attached to it yet because the Shade Tree Committee is meeting tonight after this meeting to discuss those amendments. So if we finish them, I can email them to you and we could amend it to move forward, or we'll just bounce it to the next meeting.
So far from the committee members, there's not been anything that's substantial, so we don't anticipate there being any major.
Yeah, it's more clerical than anything.
Yeah, also making sure that they relate back to the new forestry standards.
Next item is 4.1. This is ordinance 23-057. This is authorizing the restrictive covenant at 7084-8 West Side Avenue. This is where the city will be receiving a certain amount of office space in exchange for lifting the restrictions, in addition to public parking spaces being available. Okay, the next one is 4.7, ordinance 23-063. This is an ordinance authorizing the city to enter into a lease with Liberty National Development for block 27503, lot 13. This is the thing I spoke about involving the pier, where we're going to be running ferry service to Manhattan. Any questions? Okay. The next one is resolution item number 10.25, resolution 23-514. This is the one that Brian just discussed. So actually.
So many tall people in front of me. Good afternoon, Council President, council members. I have one item from the Division of Engineering. It's agenda item number 10.24, resolution 23-513. This is for the implementation of operations and maintenance professional services agreement for the PJP landfill. This is in accordance with the NJDEP and US EPA guidelines. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Council President, council members. If you don't mind, I'd like to jump around and save item 3.3 and 10.23 last. They kind of go together. So I'll start with 3.4, ordinance 2368. This is an ordinance to designate the intersection of Congress and Hancock into a multi-way stop control intersection.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, next one is item 3.5, ordinance 2369. This is an ordinance to clear the entrance to Waldo School at 110 First Street and also at Iglesia de Dios at 180 Hopkins Avenue. Item 1022, resolution 23-510. This resolution is for an existing loading zone at 780 Newark Ave and to extend it another 20 feet. So one more additional parking space. Okay, and then I'm going back to item 3.3, ordinance 2367. This is for amending section 33222, no parking regulations along Marin Boulevard. There is a local safety improvements grant project that we'd like to advance this year, and these parking restrictions would just be consistent with that new design. And then 1023, resolution 23511 is for loading zones to be designated along Bay Street, Marin Boulevard, and Steuben, which would supplement the parking changes on Marin Boulevard. Oh, and one more. There's also a loading zone for
What number? No,
It's 10.22.
oh, 22, okay.
23.
20, no, 23 is.
22.
Oh,
It's 20.
Yeah.
It's red.
okay. Sorry, mistaken. And just one more on that loading zone designation. It's for a loading zone in front of Hero Farm on West Side. We've been waiting for that one for a while.
Just a general question for loading zones, they go typically through resolutions or is it through ordinance or, I mean?
It can, so according to Title 39, it's through ordinance, regulation, or resolution. And I think it's just been past practice to do resolution.
Got it. All right.
You.
It's because I'm thinking about loading zones in my area, so.
Good afternoon, Council President and Council members. I'm here for item 10.8, Resolution 23-497. It's a resolution for my reappointment as a deputy tax assessor.
How long have you been in your current role as deputy tax assessor?
I've been a tax assessor for 20 years as a deputy since 2019, 4 years ago.
You said you've been with the city for over 20 years?
20 years, yes.
I'll jump in, representing the administration. So Laura has been a dedicated employee for over 20 years. Thought I heard something else. She does have a master's degree and she's been working in this field with the license for over a decade now. We did appoint her 4 years ago as the deputy, and with the reappointment, she'll seek tenure in her position. So that's why we bring it back to the council after the first 4 years. And the administration strongly supports this, and we hope that the council does as well.
Thank you, John.
John, so the first 4 years were like, so explain that again, say that again.
So for constitution officers within the city, that would be your assessor, collector, clerk, maybe construction code, I'm not sure, but so for those positions, what they do is for the longevity of any municipality so that it's not necessarily political appointments. For those constitutional officers, they get a 4-year run, and if they're reconfirmed by the next sitting members of the 4 years, they get tenure rights. And what that means is that for the continuation of their career, if an administration looks to take them out, they have protection in Trenton that they can go to and get some support. So it's to help the hardworking employees that are lifetime employees of the city.
Thank you for your service.
See? That's it, right, Stacy?
Good evening, Council and Madam President. I am here to present several resolutions. The first is Resolution 23517 for BioBot. Just looking for it.
1028.
It is 1028. So I think you know that we, over the past year, have been working on ways to enhance our local public health infrastructure with a grant from the New Jersey Association of County and City Health Officials. And this program with BioBot would allow us to test wastewater to determine the increase or decrease of respiratory disease, COVID, flu, RSV, and harmful substances like fentanyl and nicotine. And this is a pilot project for us to better monitor these substances so that we can increase and improve planning for the future. And that went out in RFQ, and this came back at 39,000. $300.
Stacy, so how do this, so these bio analytics, it's the machine?
Yeah, so the program sort of collects wastewater, analyzes it so that we can better understand like how we're doing as a city, because we don't have exact data on the breadth of our fentanyl issue or nicotine usage. COVID in wastewater was a primary way for people to find COVID when people weren't getting tested, which is what's happening now because we haven't seen a lot of COVID. People just stop testing, or when they're testing at home, they're not reporting it, but we can better gauge what some of these issues are when people aren't going for standard testing.
So for the water, so what water they will be testing?
The city water, wastewater.
Oh,
Yeah, we're working with MUA on this.
Can they test other diseases and
Yep.
viruses like measles, mumps, all that? And
They can, and we probably, that would be expanded. We typically, measles and mumps, people like go immediately to an ER because they see something versus like not feeling well. But also in wastewater right now, the state is testing polio because that's been sort of on the rise outside of Hudson Valley.
we get a report whenever they finish with their testing.
Absolutely, yeah. The next item is resolution 23518. So that's 1029. And this is a resolution authorizing award of a contract to In Our Shoes, LLC, a minority women-owned business that does professional development training and the DISC training, which helps with communication and leadership. Because we have this funding from the New Jersey Association for County and City Officials, and a big part of it is professional development. 2 years ago, we did the DISC training with the division directors. Division directors felt that it would be really important for us to do it with all staff. So we carved out funding so that all staff on HHS team could go through the process. I believe other departments have also gone through this process. But since we have a very large field staff and we wanted to sort of engage them in this level of professional development, we're here because it's over the 17.5. So this will cost us $40,000. The next one is resolution 23519, and that is a 1030. So that's a resolution authorizing the acceptance of a renewed grant award from the New Jersey Department of Health, Division of HIV, STD, and TB Services. This is our standard, what we call our STD, STI grant. It funds 3 of our disease investigative specialists, and that's $115,000. The next one is I'm going to skip the one I put it on, but Cynthia's here to talk about it. So my next one is 23510, 522, that's 1033, and that's a resolution awarding a contract between Planned Parenthood of Metropolitan New Jersey and the City Department of Health and Human Services to increase the work that we're doing in our WIC clinics with referral services to support improved family planning for moms that come into WIC, having already had their first child, returning to WIC 3 months later with questions, concerns, and or possibly already pregnant again.
Next.
That's all for me.
The lot station. Cynthia?
Good evening, Council President and fellow councilmen. I'm here to speak on Resolution 23-520, item number 10.31, a resolution authorizing the acceptance of a grant award from the State of New Jersey Office of Local Public Health for the Strengthening Local Public Health Capacity Program. Okay.
Sit here from SID.
Good evening, everyone. How are
Good
you?
evening.
Good evening.
We have the public hearing and also 10.6 and 10.7 for our fiscal year budget.
Question, guys?
Everybody's upset with the, 4th of July removal of entertainment.
Heard you need an entertainer.
Don't really care about the, we talking about your budget. Is there any questions on a budget?
Sorry. I know we've talked in the past a little bit about the spaces over on even Hudson and the waterfront on Grand and York, and you guys were looking at those spaces. Can you just give us an update on what you're currently thinking about with those spaces?
There hasn't been a huge update yet. We haven't moved forward on anything, but I'll circle back with the city about that,
Cool.
where we're going.
And then I think we had reached out today and not knowing you guys would be here. Are we currently getting the off-duty officers through the UEZ program, or are they working with you guys right now, or is that program not operating for some reason at the moment?
I think it stopped. We were funding our own off-duty. The UEZ was doing some, a little bit of confusion. Joyce, do you know more about
They
it?
waiting for the funds. That's why it stopped.
Okay.
State haven't released.
Yeah,
it.
we're anticipating July 15th as a new startup date, pending that the state passes their budget.
Is there any way, I mean, I don't know how much funds we have, but I have to say summer is the key time, and is there any way for us to pay, I mean, we're talking 2 weeks of the 15th, but 3 weeks of pay and then get reimbursed with the funds once they get here? Because obviously it's just, summer's the key time to have folks out.
We can work. Yeah, we can work on that, Councilman. We're looking at some gap funding. The only issue is that in the event that the state cuts it, the city will be on the hook for it. But even if it's a tranche of that, we've been working on that. Yep.
Right.
We'll look at it too. We do have some funding in our budget for security. Not a lot, but.
Okay, yeah, I mean, it'd be great just because, it's the time of year. And then are there any kind of major capital projects you guys are looking for now that, Exchange Place is looking beautiful and it's nearing its end?
Oh, very exciting. We are looking to start up with we've been in talks with the state, and obviously now there's some flux time here, but we're continuing that for, there's 2 different entities, but for the Colgate Park, the space behind that's been kind of behind a fence for many, many years, and also the Peninsula Park of Liberty State Park. And we have letters in to the EPA and stuff for that. And we're continually following up, but they've had some structural changes in the EPA as well and at Liberty State Park. So we'll just keep on top of it. Right now, we still are trying to wrap up Exchange Place.
Okay, great.
But in the meantime, we're pushing those forward as much as possible.
Great, thank you.
See, there's $100,000 for lawyers.
Yeah, we have
lawsuits.
a lot of lawyer fees.
Is that there's still active lawsuits against?
There sure is.
Okay. Do you anticipate that'll be like that in the years to come, or?
Hopefully not.
Okay.
A lot of money for.
Thank you.
Sure. Is there anything else? Yeah.
Okay. First reading ordinances, items 3.1 through 3.6 were touched on earlier. Item 3.7, City Ordinance 23-071 is an ordinance amending Chapter A 352, enabling ordinances of the Jersey City Municipal Code for the renaming of Sycamore Road east of McGovern Park from Custer Avenue to Gates Avenue as Stanfield Lane. Item 3.8, City Ordinance 23-072 is an ordinance adopting amendments to the Land Development Ordinance regarding definitions, Section 345-6, and cannabis establishments and distributors, Section 345-60.5.
I see that is this just for the planning board? Is there going to be one where it's limiting the number of establishments in each ward?
I think we've discussed with the administration, there's a second companion ordinance that's going to be talking about the regulations on the operations that do not have to do with the land use. So I think we're going to be asking that this ordinance be moved to be introduced at the same time as the other ordinance on July 12th, I believe it is, for the July meeting.
Okay. So we're withdrawing
or carrying?
Well, it's a first reading, so it would really be the same functionally if we withdrew versus carrying over, Sean, I believe.
So if we go forward with it, it will be a public hearing for July 12th. If you're looking to have it introduced for July 12th, we would withdraw it and bring it back for July 12th.
I think it makes far more sense to introduce them both at the same time and have the public comment at the same time, since it all involves the same subject.
So the administration will withdraw it, and then on July 12th, bring both back at the same time.
Very good.
Thank you.
On to our second reading ordinances, item 4.1, which touched on earlier. Item 4.2, City Ordinance 23-058 is an ordinance supplementing Chapter 332, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 2, Traffic Regulations, amending Section 332-9, Stop Intersections, and Article 3, Parking, Standing, Stopping, amending Sections 332-22, Parking Prohibited at all times, and Section 332-31, Parking Restrictions for street cleaning purposes for Stanfield Lane, formerly known as Sycamore Road. Item 4.3, City Ordinance 23-059 is an ordinance supplementing Chapter 332, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 3, Parking, Standing, Stopping, amending Section 332-31, Parking Restrictions for street cleaning purposes on 18th Street, North Street, and Washington Boulevard. Item 4.4, City Ordinance 23-060 is an ordinance supplementing Chapter 332, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 2, Traffic Regulations, Section 332-8, prohibited right turns and on red signal to prohibit turns on red at all times, at all approaches to the intersection of Caven Point Road and Chapel Avenue. Item 4.5, City Ordinance 23-061 is an ordinance supplementing Chapter 332, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 9, Parking for the Disabled of the Jersey City Code, designated reserved parking space at various locations throughout the city. Item 4.6, City Ordinance 23-062 is an ordinance amending Chapter A 352, enabling ordinance of the Jersey City Municipal Code, designating Glenwood Avenue from Kennedy Boulevard to West Side Avenue as Peacock Way. Item 4.7 was touched on earlier. Item 4.8, City Ordinance 23-064 is an ordinance authorizing the acquisition by purchase or condemnation of Block 10601, Lot 42 on a tax map of the City of Jersey City, also known as 50 Journal Square, for the construction of a public park.
Hey, John, I know Rich had, some concerns about this. He's not here today, so is there any update?
Yep, so Councilman, we did look into the councilman's concerns. Once again, just want to reiterate that we're trying to use this for a public domain, for a public purpose, not necessarily caring about a developer's potential benefit from this. So the idea is it's in connection with the Lowe's, so it'd be part of the Lowe's project that it's well over a $90 million renovation there. There was discussion about the potential of a hotel or a hotel that's adjacent to it. There's no plans put before planning for that at this time. It's really just a concept or an idea that's out there, and we don't want to wait months or even years to potentially capture this land for the public, and it would cost a substantial more amount of money. I know the councilman did express something in the range of $8 or $9 million for a cost. It's well below that. We have a valuation that's between 900 and $1 million total. So we just ask that the council continue to look at this as a public benefit and not necessarily, an issue for development.
Saying that the Lowe's is not involved, but I know there was a couple of meetings there. Who's on the board of the Lowe's that, we contact? That's probably what we need to ask. Because I hear a lot of times that, they're not there, and then when I speak out, then one person said they were there. It like goes back and forth, so I just really need clarity.
Yeah, well,
They may have representation, but it could be a communication breakdown. I don't know.
yeah, Councilwoman, we could verify, Council President, sorry, we could verify before Wednesday that they've been communicated with. And just for the record, this is for acquisition. The actual build out would come again before the council and before that board, so they could see what it looks like. The idea is that it would be, a public gathering location, because it is one parcel. It's not per se a park, but there could be some greenery, and it'd be in connection with the Lowe's.
Just sort of a general question, because I know that the councilman also reached out to myself and wanted me to ask if there was any harm in carrying over to the meeting in July, just so he can be here when it's up for a vote.
The only issue with that we have, Councilwoman, is that then plans may potentially go into planning, and then we're going to be burdened with some lawsuits and potential litigation. We made our purpose clear when we sent the letter to the owners of the space that we were looking to proceed with a public use for it. I'll speak to you guys again before Wednesday before we do it, but that's just kind of where we're from administration.
Okay. I just wanted to ask that question on his behalf since he is not here.
Respectfully. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thank you. Go ahead, Sean.
Next, we'll have a special improvement district public hearing on the 2023-2024 Exchange Place Alliance Special Improvement District Assessment Roll and Budget. And then we have our public speakers, and then on to our petitions and communications. Any questions or comments on items 6.1 through 6.25? Hearing none. Officer Communications 7.1 through 7.4. We have our report of directors, and then our claims and addendum. Well, just claims at this point. And on to our resolutions. Resolutions 10.1 through 10.11 were touched on earlier. 10.12, 23-501 is a resolution authorizing the City of Jersey City's Department of Housing, Economic Development, and Commerce, Division of Housing Preservation, to accept lead grant assistance program award from the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs. Items 10.13 through of them were covered. So with that being said,
Motion.
I have a motion to adjourn at 5:06 PM by Councilperson Saleh. May I have a second? Second by Councilperson Prinzary. On the motion to adjourn at 5:06 PM. All council members present by acclamation, please say aye.
Aye.
We are out of here at 5:06 PM. Thank you so much, everybody in attendance and everybody watching at home. Remember, teamwork makes the dream work. Have a great night. Stay safe.
It's in the morning during the council meeting. I just want to know who's going to be.